So, today's episode of Take a Seat is all about the future of workplace design and how the spaces we create can influence how, where, and why we work. Sharing insights on this is today's guest, Stephen Griffiths. Stephen is a studio director at Space Solutions, bringing nearly 30 years of experience in commercial interior design. Over that time, he has led and delivered high quality projects across Scotland, the UK, and internationally, working with clients as far afield as France, Norway, and Australia. Since joining Space in 2005 as a senior interior designer, Stevens played a key role in the company's growth, helping to establish and develop its Dundee studio, which is now celebrating 20 years, and leading teams across Dundee, Aberdeen, and Edinburgh. In today's conversation, we're talking about how workplace environments are evolving, what businesses can do to encourage people back into the office, and how thoughtful design can support productivity and collaboration. We'll also look at real world examples, including Say that again. We'll also look at real world examples, including projects like James Thompson House and Thornton's, and discuss the strength of design talent here in Dundee. Plus, we'll explore where demand for office space is actually coming from. So, Stephen, take a seat. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. So there was a lot in that intro, wasn't there? So we're going to get a chance to touch on some of that, and we might not get the chance unless we've got a bit of time to kind of talk about some of that international work. But just kind of, I suppose for me, I'm even getting tired of myself talking about since COVID. But COVID has dramatically changed probably every part of the way that you guys do your work, and yet we're beginning to see people, I think, changing again almost. So how is that office design evolving? How are you seeing all that kind of shaping at the moment?
It's probably the pandemic probably brought the conversation forward to what we've been trying to help clients and workplaces to do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The desk is not the most important piece of a workplace, and yet it seemed to be the only piece that people spoke about before.
Mm-hmm.
So workplace design has really taken a leap forward because businesses have had to trust and change, and it's helping them with the change. So, um, flight to quality, we talk about that. So, what offices want now is a better quality working environment for themselves, for the employees there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, designing that then starts to look at much more than just the the activity of one space. So the activities that the employees need is a lot more considered than what it used to be. Why do people go to the office? They go to the office now to collaborate, to engage, to communicate with their peers.
Mm-hmm.
The choice of hybrid working, that's the norm now.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we don't say hybrid working really anymore. It's just what's the flexibility. So it's the flexibility for everyone, but the business needs must still come first for that. So the activities are what we engage clients with and talk about that. So what do you do? What do you need? Not what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And what they need then will depend on the individuals, the different businesses, and so they might need more private work or they might need more collaboration work. But it's really about the office space meeting those demands.
How do you help them answer that question? Because we probably think what we need is what we need. Therefore, what does that journey look like?
Good question. So we specialise in workplace consultancy, which is quite a unique service. A lot of traditionally architecture or design, they focus on the end product.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on the people, and we focus on the users as a priority. So the workplace consultancy does engagement. So we'll do interviews, visioning sessions, key questionnaires, and really draw out a lot of information from the client. In an abstract way, it's a desktop exercise where we're focusing on data.
Mm-hmm.
There's no designs at this stage.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's how many staff have you got? What are the functions? What's the activities? What's the frequency of in the office?
Mm-hmm.
Is there future growth? Is there consolidation? The why behind all of that. And clients really struggle with that. So we engage with them and use our,
Mm-hmm.
if you like, toolkit and workshops to help And the output from that can focus on something that we call a space budget. And a space budget is like a calculator formula of space to identify the right fit.
That makes sense. And so, do you find then that there's a difference between what I guess, the purchasers who are, depend, I don't know if it's like learning and development functions or if it's the facilities people that ask you in, and then you begin to get teams involved because you're understanding how people think they might be able to use the space. And then there's a real kind of difference between what the original people that were getting you in think that they wanted versus what you hear from their people.
Yeah, yes, depending on the size of the organisation, it can
Mm-hmm.
be facility based, or it could actually be the immediate owners, it could be
Mm-hmm.
landlords, large corporate, different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do the engagement, we encourage quite a broad spectrum
Mm.
of employees. So it's not just the bosses and the leaders
Yeah.
actually saying what they think they want. It is people who are fulfilling many different roles, and it's their activities. So whether they're in business development or whether they're in research development, learning, engineering, or anything else, there, HR, accountancy, finance, all of these different departments um, and needs become really important, and that's what creates the picture.
Yeah, yeah. It can be really quite inspiring walking into a place that's had a really good firm in to take the time to make sure a space is well designed, but also it just makes you very jealous of people's budgets. So you must have a really interesting job.
Yeah, there's although we've probably got a bit of a repeat in the process, there is no
Mm-hmm.
job the same. So it is interesting, and I guess that's why I like design and working with people
Mm-hmm.
there, because that's really what it's about.
So tell us about some of the recent projects you've been involved in then.
Well, there's lots when we have so many offices around, but focusing just now, we've obviously been really involved in the James Thompson House in Dundee, which has been great. It's been going for ourselves. It's been going on for quite a while with the clients.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 5 floors there, and we're proud to be involved in all of those. So the two key tenants, the top 3 floors, are Thornton's Law. We're moving in there,
Mm-hmm.
and we're providing a full traditional service there, where we're the architects, designers, workplace consultants, change management there, and we've helped Thornton shape and work through their offices, and so really excited about
Mm-hmm.
that. That's great. And then, interestingly, working with Enable on the first and the second floor, I helped them move from their offices at the Vision Building to Dundee House, and now the strategic plan was always to get into the into
Mm-hmm.
James Thompson House. So
Mm-hmm.
the 2 floors there for this client, different type of client, different kind of brief, but ultimately it's about creating the appropriate workplace for them. And we're providing spaces, providing a design and build solution there. So we're the designers and the contractors. So
Mm-hmm.
that in itself as a model is quite interesting, to be involved in the two different procurement methods, but in the same building
Mm-hmm.
in the same city. So it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, and I mean, although Thorntons are a law firm,
Yes.
they're very kind of technologically enabled, which I didn't mean a pun at all by that. But
No.
the two organisations, I guess, feel like they might be quite similar, but have they been very different in what they've needed in their floors?
Well, they both it's about change for the businesses. So what they both need change. They
Mm-hmm.
both need to the buildings they're in just now potentially are not fit for purpose, particularly with Thornton's right now, and they needed to move
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to move, and they're consolidating and really taking that leap to transform and create a headquarters, which will be pretty fantastic, to
Yeah.
be honest with you, and invest in their staff and create a workplace that they're really going to be proud of. Enable, no different really in that principle, but it's about getting the right space for them,
Mm-hmm.
and this building suits that. It's a bit of a blank canvas, got fantastic views to the V&A and Central, and that just shows that these companies are investing and
Yeah.
maintained their interest in the city, which is great.
Yeah, yeah. And have they? they or does the work that you do with companies at the moment bring in different technology solutions? So are they kind of adopting things that will make it easier for their people to kind of use the spaces as well?
I believe so, and that's probably about again focusing on the activities and the kind of spaces. We talk about work settings.
Mm-hmm.
So the work settings that Thorntons have currently is really a desk, a meeting room, and somewhere to get a cup of coffee or a tea.
Mm-hmm.
So and not much more than that.
Yeah.
Whereas through working with them, we've identified the different kinds of settings that they need. So the working environment is very much focused to that. You know, a really good staff well-being areas have been provided for and designed for different areas, and well-being is a big factor. We talk about neurodiversity, so creating focused, quiet areas to work as well as collaboration. Clearly, a firm like Thornton's, they need a client focused space, so that's been recognised as well. So it's getting that balance correct and allowing the staff to really have the correct space to do their best work. That's been a big discussion point.
Mm-hmm. So no Google-esque buildings like chutes and sleep pods, or are we getting some of that?
No, no, and there's aspects there. I think there's really there's a real innovative area that's being created just now, which will allow the Thorntons to really celebrate that space. That'll be fantastic, and that's exciting to see how that's going to develop and how they use that. So, which gives a lot of flexibility, and really will help them lead what they do. So that's good.
And how do you kind of use projects like this to attract people into your business? So what does it look like for attracting designers and architects in the local area into your firm?
Well, we're very focused on interior design, workplace design. Now that could be in any public, private sector, and so forth. And we have a strong connect with the DJ CAD and the university and the talent. Probably a lot of our designers that work within space, including myself, studied there. It was a long time ago, but we've got new graduates that just came in a couple of years ago. And having a city that's got, you know, one of the best universities and design schools is without question critical. I used to head up Aberdeen for many years, and it was really difficult to get designers, interior designers, to be employed within Aberdeen because there wasn't a design school. It was architecture and fantastic city as it is. Comparing that to everything in Dundee, we've got the interior design, we've got the the creative aspects in the arts there, and that makes it easier to have an employment sort of opportunity there and see where the talent's coming out. And we've always got offices elsewhere, and the talent within Scotland's very strong. But there's no question having DJ CAD, interior design, and the architecture school here is really important.
No, that's really good to hear. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing a business breakfast or a business event at the degree show at DJ CAD for a number of years, and yeah, you get used to the the areas that you want to go and look at. And I love the jewelry, that's and the textiles is amazing, but I also really like some of the space design, or some of those kind of the built environment where you see all the models and they give them a a brief, and it's about designing maybe a public space or something. It's really brilliant.
Oh, it's great. I mean, what they're doing. I mean, I had the benefit of going in and helping doing some round tables for the last 2 years with the final year students. So you go in and they present their at what stage they're at for their final year degree and leading towards their the degree show, and to be able to hear what they're saying and the confidence they have and the imagination is great, and just trying to give them a bit of guidance from industry there and then see how they do. But no, it remains a very high level.
Yeah, the quality is really amazing, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. And it's good in the degree show to kind of get round and speak to the students as well and kind of talk to them about their work. I think they don't always necessarily realise that that's them starting to do a bit of networking and make connections with future employers.
Oh, completely. You know, there's that connect with industry in the chapter that they're about to finish and then start a new one is really important for them. But yeah, I think between the kind of the two sides, the academic and the development, and then the industry, I think there's great opportunity to make more of that and help the students there. But no, it's very good.
Yeah. And what about current demand for office space? Where are you seeing that coming from?
Well, that varies depending on the city, depending on what's the what's the development plans, the investments. We talk about change. That's probably the word we use more than anything. What is the change? Is there consolidation or is it growth? Where is the money coming from? We've got obviously the city's development and what Scottish government. Dundee has been going through change and always goes through change. It's one of the most, for me, one of the most progressive cities with the waterfront, and a lot of positivity there. And it's just seeing where we're relevant. So we're relevant in helping landlords with looking at their spaces with them. But I do wonder where's the office space demand required. Dundee has that in Edinburgh and Glasgow. They're all the same. We've got we talk about grade A office space, what's being built, and actually there's a shortage of that, and there's a demand for that. But then we talk about retrofit, and we've got a lot of landlords out there who have got a lot of building stock that they don't know what to do with that. And there's legislation coming into play that forces them that they have to think about that. So the retrofit, the refurbishment, and making it work is all is complex, but there definitely needs to be investment and the change and however that is, the Thorntons, the Enables, everything that's happened with the universities and but it depends on the cities and
Yeah, it does. You're right. I mean, the waterfront of Dundee has gone through such significant changes, but actually, there's always something going on in Dundee. So that is interesting in and of itself. Yeah,
it is. And some people don't need to make much change to get the benefits. It's really just a refurbishment of their space, or they're growing the staff numbers, but they don't quite know how to best make that work for themselves. That doesn't mean they have to move; it just means they have to reevaluate what they've got. And that's tricky. And clients are scared to get it wrong, so that's fair enough.
That's not changing anytime
That's
soon.
not
is it?
changing anytime soon. But no, there's definitely the office space in the workplace is still needed, and we see a trend of actually more people coming back and working within the office, which maybe 2 years ago was different, but there's definitely a change happening. So that's but it's having the right setting. So with that, I think there's the Scottish government and the different buildings they have, they must be one of the biggest occupiers, or government buildings are the biggest occupiers throughout the country, and so they really need to reevaluate how they use all these buildings, and get the staff back in or make that work. I know that's challenging. But I think that's important.
Couldn't agree more. Helps the high street, it helps all the small businesses, it helps everybody.
No, there's no question.
And we are very lucky where we are in terms of our outlook and our offices down at City Quay. So we're very sneaky in that we have got key questions now, which we ask all our podcast guests. So before we kind of finish up, I just want to kind of ask you my three key questions. So first off, what is the best or worst piece of advice you've ever actually followed?
It's probably more personal. Just probably from my parents, just being, be truthful to myself, respectful to others, and treat people like you'd want to be treated. That's probably kind of the golden rule.
Yeah, I think that's pretty worthwhile following. What about a completely useless skill that you're secretly proud of?
Oh, I think that's got to be the dishwasher at home. I I I kind of covet the making sure that's all organised because between my wife and my sons, they just have no spatial awareness, so I just kind of lose it and have to completely redo it. So yeah, that's probably the one.
I love that. There's just so much I could talk about there. That's not useless by any manner of means. Could you teach my husband? But also, we've got someone in our team that talks about weaponized incompetence. So I'm just going to leave that there. You can go and look that up.
I think my
But yeah.
son might have used that.
And what about one habit that's made the biggest difference to your work life?
Probably perseverance. I've got a bit of a failure's not an option kind of attitude to things. It's really just keep working at it, support people, and just it's about making getting a solution there and can do. That's really
Yeah,
important
yeah,
to us.
yeah. That's a really good one to finish. So thank you so much, Stephen. This has been really interesting. I know we could have gone on and on, but we haven't got time. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk to us. It's been fascinating to hear how workplace design is evolving and the role that thoughtful, well-designed spaces can play in bringing people back into the office. Stephen's insights into how Space Solutions approaches projects really highlights the impact that great design can have on both businesses and their people. It's always fantastic to hear about the strength of talent here in Dundee and the local area, thanks to the likes of the city's great college, DJ CAD, and where future demand is coming from as businesses continue to adapt and change. So thanks for listening.